Conservative new media viewers, JLin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFA Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Brooklyn's 110-105 defeat tonight to the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta, Georgia. Nets fall to 11-52 on the season, including 4-28 away from Brooklyn. Atlanta improves to 35-29, including 18-15 at home. What happened in this game was this is a very good, very competitive game. Another great outing for the Nets. This was a great loss. I'll just say that right up front. The Nets were never down in this game, I don't think, by more than 8 points. And certainly not more than 9. And what happened was they had a chance to win down the stretch of the game. We'll go over that in a second. They just made a couple mistakes. Atlanta made a couple of plays. And they just weren't quite able to pull it out. But they put a terrific effort out in this game. And there's so many good things that happen in this game, and I'll talk about all of them in a second. Statistically speaking, there's 2 reasons why Brooklyn lost this game. They gave up too many offensive rebounds to Atlanta. They were beaten in that category 11-5. And they had too many turnovers in this game. Brooklyn had 22 turnovers, and Atlanta only had 15 turnovers. So -6 in offensive rebounds, -7 in turnovers, and that really is the difference in this game, particularly when you have such a close game where you lose only by 5 points. Individual stats, bench did a fantastic job. They had, I don't know, I can't do the math real quickly here. Actually, yeah, they had like 55 points from the bench tonight. They easily outscored Atlanta's bench. Sean Kilpatrick had his 3rd consecutive game of over 20 points. That's the first time in his career that he's done that. He's definitely got his groove back. You know, he was great at the start of the year. Then he had a kind of an extended slump. He's got his confidence back, and he's looking fantastic and giving really good help off the bench. Trevor Booker, 12 points, 8 rebounds off the bench as well. Quincy Acy, another excellent outing, 7 points, 7 rebounds. And I'm going to tell you, Justin Hamilton has been out because of illness, but he might have a hard time getting a spot back because Quincy Acy really gets it done. And he didn't shoot well from 3 tonight, but on the season, he's shooting really well from 3. And that's what Justin Hamilton's biggest strength. Also, Justin Hamilton is taller than Quincy Acy, but Quincy Acy, man, he's a spark plug. Starters, Karis LeVert, 7 points, 3 rebounds. Randy Foye, only 3 points tonight. Brook Lopez, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 blocked shots. Rondé Hollis Jefferson, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Jeremy Lin, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. Jeremy played 24 minutes. He shot 6 of 13 from the field, including 3 of 6 from three-point range, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 1 steal, no block shots, 4 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. His plus-minus was a +0. And Jeremy was big in the 4th quarter again. And I'll talk about that more in a second. Now, he had a chance to tie this game with a 3-pointer with about 5 seconds left, and he missed it badly. But that's because Atlanta knew he was going to shoot it, and they were all over the play. And he had to kind of force it, and it just wasn't there. But Jeremy made some really good plays down the stretch of this game. And look, he's the closer. He's the guy that can help you get things done, as he did in the last game, and that's definitely what the Nets have been missing when Jeremy was out. 2 more things about Jeremy quickly, statistically. Jeremy is now shooting 40.3% from three-point range this season. That's terrific. That's a goal that Jeremy has had for himself and his shooting coach had. He's there now. Now we have to see if he can continue it throughout the rest of the games this season, but that is by far, or it would be, the best of his career. Obviously, the shooting form and the shot motion is definitely getting better and better. So Jeremy's improving more and more. And I really believe, and I've said this before, I've mentioned Steve Nash many times in relation to Jeremy and Jeremy's development. I really believe that Jeremy's career arc could be a lot like Steve Nash's, which is Steve Nash didn't fully become the player that he's known as until he was about 30 years old. Jeremy is now 28 years old. There's still some skills work for Jeremy to do. I would say in particular his ball handling, just to get it to another level. And that I think that Jeremy could end up having a similar track as Nash, who was really good late into his 30s. In fact, he was still good, but he suffered a kind of a freak leg injury and nerve damage that pretty much essentially ended his career. So skill level is incredibly important to playing in the league. And Jeremy does rely a good amount on his athleticism, but skill is king. And Jeremy's skill continues to grow more and more and more, as does his leadership and everything else. So Jeremy could be around for a while. I think there's a good chance that he's going to be, and that's fantastic. The other statistic I want to say about Jeremy, this was the 7th consecutive game in which Jeremy played. That is the most consecutive games that he played this season. I think when he began the year, he played 5 games, and then he got hurt. Then when he came back, he played 6 straight games, and then he got hurt. And tonight was the 7th game in a row for him in this stint, and I don't think he got hurt, so this is really good. Jeremy again was on kind of the 25-minute restriction. I think this is the 3rd consecutive game that they've wanted to limit him to 25 or fewer minutes. I would expect that that's going to be going up pretty soon to 30 minutes. So he's looking great. I mean, this is the best version of JLin that has ever existed. He's definitely better than he was in New York. There's no question about it. And we're getting to the point, we're getting there where the advanced stats will bear that out too. At least several advanced stats. Like his PER is very similar to what it was in New York. Win shares per 48 is down a little bit. That has to do with just Brooklyn's defense isn't that good. It's really bad, actually, and that kind of affects Jeremy in terms of that statistic. I don't know what his RPM is now as compared with his season in New York, but he's much better than he was then. And if he's able to kind of keep his level of play where it's at right now, then all of the talk that we've heard for years about Linsanity was a fluke, and it was a one-time thing, will be forever silenced. Not that, again, Jeremy doesn't care about proving people wrong. Like, he doesn't work off negative motivation anymore, and which is good. But pretty soon that concept is going to be in the rearview mirror, and that's really good, and it's fair because that was never the case, and it's pretty clear that we're seeing it this year. In fact, our old friend Dominique Wilkins, who calls the games for the Hawks, I watched about 1 minute of this game on Hawks coverage, and I believe that Dominique Wilkins said he really likes the way Jeremy's playing this year. So, you know what? Dominique has come around, and I think a whole bunch of other people will hopefully come around too as we move forward, because there's simply no denying what Jeremy is doing. He just needed the right situation. He needed the right coach. He needed teammates that believed in him. I said this on Twitter the other day. The Nets are the perfect fit for Jeremy because they allow him, the coach and the team, they allow him to be what he wants to be. He wants to be the go-to guy late. They do that. And he wants to be the leader. And because this team has a lot of young players and cast-offs, Jeremy is the leader, or he's one of the key leaders, along with probably Randy Foye and Brook Lopez. So Jeremy's able to be what he wants to be. And that's why you're seeing the best version of him. And, of course, along with his tremendous skill improvement since Linsanity and since he first came into the league. You do not see very many players who continue to improve once they've hit 28 years old. Usually guys by like 24, 25, they are what they are. That's all you're going to get. So that's who they are. But the great players, like a Steve Nash, like a LeBron James, they continue to improve. And Jeremy is continuing to improve. And good for him, because he deserves all of this. He's worked so hard. I mean, so hard. Just to be able to stay in the league and get some respect. And now it's starting to pay off. And it's just great to see. I don't care who you are, whether you like Jeremy or not, you got to give the guy his due. He's earned it, and it's time to get some respect. I mean, I was looking at a column written by somebody from ESPN. I'm sorry, I don't remember the woman's name right now. This was like the 5-year anniversary of Linsanity. This was from like about a month ago, February 11th. It was a really good piece. And the name of the piece, the title of the article was something like, JLin continues to be whatever we want him to be. Meaning, he's almost like a blank slate. And people project their own feelings and their own things onto him. And if you're a Lin fan, you know how this goes. Which is, he's taking somebody else's spot. Somebody else could be in the NBA and do better than him. And they mentioned some guy talking about that, or somebody mentioning that in the article. Let me tell you something. That's totally ridiculous. There isn't anybody that's not in the NBA who could be doing what Jeremy Lin's doing right now. I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. Because so much of what Jeremy's doing now is an accumulation of skill development and knowledge of how to play the point guard position. You cannot, you could take the greatest phenom ever, and they probably wouldn't be able to do what Jeremy's doing right now in terms of playing at the level that he's playing at. Even somebody like LeBron, who's one of the 5 greatest players who ever lived, and he's one of the top 2 or 3 perimeter players who ever lived. Even in his rookie season, there's just things you don't know because you're a rookie. So there is nobody, 0 people in this universe and on this earth who would be better in the league than Jeremy Lin is right now. I can tell you that. No hesitation whatsoever. And it's like I said, look, you don't have to rah-rah and root for Jeremy, but it's time to give the guy respect. He is a real player. He is a high-level player. And he's worked just so much harder than what people understand to get to where he's at. And it's just great. I'm just happy for him. And look, I mean, the best thing, again, about tonight is he didn't get hurt. And he's shooting really well. And hopefully now he can just kind of put the hamstring injuries behind him and move on. I just wanted to say all that. Now, back to this game and why it was so good. There's a couple different reasons why. For the second consecutive game, at least, the Nets bench was able to hold down and actually come back in the third quarter when the lead started to go up for Atlanta. And it was just like the Memphis game. It was like, oh boy, things could start getting out of hand here. But they fought back. Sean Kilpatrick got on a roll there. Isaiah Whitehead made a couple of nice plays, added Trevor Booker. And so the cohesiveness and the fight and the understanding of role by the bench is so much better now than it was 10 games ago. And as I've said before, a lot of this has to do with Coach Atkinson settling in on his lineups. Plus, it also has to do with the team being relatively healthy. Now, if Justin Hamilton is hurt, you got Quincy Acey. If Joe Harris is hurt, you got KJ McDaniels to play 5 minutes as he did tonight. That's why this team, more than other teams, really relies on depth because of how they play. And that's why you need talent throughout the entire roster. Some teams, it doesn't matter as much. They only go with 8 or 9 guys. This team is not made like that. They have to have 11 guys that can play. And it's better if they have like 13 or 14 guys. So if a couple guys get hurt or are sick, you got capable replacements. And that's where the Nets are at now. And all of their playmakers are healthy. And that's why you're getting this tonight. Look, The Nets had too many turnovers tonight. They did. But they also had 28 assists. We've talked about it. You get 25-plus assists in a game, you're going to score some points. You're going to have a pretty good chance to win, particularly if you keep your turnovers down. So that's the one thing. The bench came back when they had to come back, and now the bench is starting to be reliable. And remember, you're relying on guys like Quincy Acey, who's been kind of marginalized on other teams. You're relying on Isaiah Whitehead. You're relying on Sean Kilpatrick, who's not too far removed from the D-League or wherever he was. They're getting it now. They're gaining in confidence. They believe now. And it's starting to pay off. And when you have some success, when you're new to doing something and you start having success, your confidence goes through the roof. So this is only going to get better and better for this team. So that was fantastic. The other thing is the Nets, even with all the turnovers, they still were able to fight back in this game down the stretch. They were able to even where it looks like they blew it a couple times late in this game. Several times. It was like, oh, man, that's it. No, they came back. Jeremy hit a huge three down the stretch of this game to bring them back. And they're fighting. They're digging. They believe they can win. And remember, this is all happening on the road. And Atlanta is another good team who is going to the playoffs. They're not as good as they used to be, but they're still pretty darn good. Very good defensive team. That's another great thing that happened tonight. The third thing was Jeremy did what he does. And he had some tough moments in this game. I want to say late in the third quarter, he had a little turnover bundle. A couple, 3 turnovers in a short period of time. And he had 1 or 2 kind of plays down the stretch of this game. But then as soon as that happened, bam, bam, he had great plays. He had one play coming out of a timeout, drew the defense, dropped the ball down into Brook for just an easy dunk. And then Jeremy hit a gigantic three-pointer, I think out of a timeout, from the left corner. Did a pump fake, got the man to go behind him, and just drilled the three. And that made it 106 to 105. And then they fouled Atlanta. Brooklyn fouled Atlanta with 15 seconds left, or something, 12 seconds left. Atlanta came down. They hit both free throws. That made it 108 to 105. And then Atlanta knew Jeremy was going to get the ball. So they kind of loaded up their defense on him. He had to dribble between a couple of players. He had to launch an off-balance shot and from three-point range to try to tie the game. Unfortunately, he missed it. But still, with all the mistakes, with all the difficulties tonight, they still had a chance to tie this game right at the very end. So I said on Twitter, Atlanta was favored by 9 points in this game. This was supposed to be another basic blowout, like the Memphis game was supposed to be. It's not like that anymore. This is not the same team that was before the All-Star break, or maybe like the game before the All-Star break. Things are changing now. And with the way they play, you don't know who it's going to be. One night it's one guy, tonight it's Sean Kilpatrick. It could be anybody. And it's really coming together now, and it's coming together pretty darn quickly. So I'm really I'm just happy. I mean, like I said, I feel great after this game. If they can play like this against most of the better teams in the league, maybe not against the elite teams yet, but playoff level teams on the road, they're going to be in good shape. They're going to be in good shape. Somebody asked me the other day, do you think that they can win 20 games this year? Meaning basically like win half of the remaining games. And I was like, nah, probably not, but who knows? If they play like this, they can, depending on how many more games they have at home as compared with the road. But I mean, it's just a new team. It's just a totally different team. And it's just great to see, and the confidence is building quick. And I'm happy for all the guys. I'm happy for Coach. This is Coach's old team, or one of them. This was the team he was on before he was hired by the Nets. And They did terrific tonight, and you got to feel great for coach and for all the players. So that's about it in terms of what I have to say about tonight's game. So let's talk about the next game coming up. That game will take place 2 days from today, Friday, March 10th, here in the United States. It is the final game on this 8-game road trip, and it will be against the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas, Texas. They were terrible earlier in this season, but now they're making a run. They had a lot of injuries early in the season, and in fact, I think their main point guard now is Yogi Ferrell, who of course was on Brooklyn's team earlier this season, and he's really broken out in Dallas. Good for him. Dallas is trying to make a real push for the playoffs. They're not a great team, but they're playing better. Dirk Nowitzki's back. They acquired Nerlens Noel in, I believe, a trade. They have Yogi Ferrell, who's performing well for them, so it's not going to be an easy game. Dallas will be favored. Let's do it. Like I said, I mean, these games are fun. They're competitive, and I expect Brooklyn to show up and give a very good accounting of themselves, and hopefully they'll have a chance down the stretch to win just the same way that they did tonight. That game will take place 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Friday, March 10th, here in the United States. And as I said, after that game, Brooklyn heads home, and I'm sure they'll be happy to get home. On the other hand, they've done great on the road, and coach has said that the road trips really let the guys kind of come together. So it's just came at the right time, and it certainly has, whatever reasons, this road trip has been successful, even though they're only 2-5 on it so far. So that's about it. Like I said, I'm just so happy for Jeremy. He's back. He looks healthy. He looks good. The shooting form is still there, even though he's missed so much time this year. It shows you that all the work he's put in has paid off. He's being able to do and show what he's capable of doing, do what he wants to do. It's just good. It's just, I mean, things are shaping up well. And again, this is still going forward. This should be the lowest level of the team as it moves forward, as long as it's healthy. Because again, we expect in the summer and going into next year, the Nets and Sean Marks, the GM, are going to try to acquire more talent. But even if you have these guys, they're going to get better. They're going to get more battle tested. They're going to get sharper in terms of making plays and understanding what to do, especially guys like rookies and people who haven't played a lot in the NBA, like Spencer Dinwiddie, like Sean Kilpatrick. So this is probably as low as you're going to see it, and we're just at a completely different level now than we were earlier in this season. So I can't wait. These games are fun, and let's tip up the ball. Let's tip the ball up, or throw the ball up for the tip in a couple of nights, and see what we get. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, take care. Hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. We will talk to you again in about 48 hours from now, after the Brooklyn Nets take on the Dallas Mavericks from Dallas.